I'm gonna. All right, so I've been wanting to do this on my channel for 4 years, and well, I finally got someone to do this. It was originally supposed to be a three-man project. It's only a two-man project. So joining me is the other man in that corner. He's known by many names, including the next Telvin Smith, White Chocolate Giddy Up.
Love it. I love it.
Mr. Lawson Morsuti, outside linebacker at St. Mary's University in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
That's me, bro. That's me.
All right.
So, Smith, I like that, bro. That's a pretty high compliment, but I'll take it.
You like that intro?
I do like it.
White Chocolate Giddy Up.
Jeez,
sounds
man.
like a pimp name.
Maybe after football, man. That's my next career.
So, a little breakdown of what this was. If any people viewing this are familiar with NFL Network, those roundtable mock drafts that they used to do, they stopped doing them. I don't think they're doing it this year again. I got in contact with the producer of the Rich Eisen show, and he said likely not.
Which is shitty.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty shitty. So what I decided we were going to do, there's two of us, want to see how our opinions differ, because there are different opinions. For example, Lawson, I know you got Wentz as your number one QB, and I got him as my third.
Third?
Yeah, I got him behind Goff and Lynch now. I had a feeling you'd react. All right. Yeah, I know. And you think Alex Collins is shit?
I don't think he's shit. I just think he's overhyped, honestly. Like, I watch game film, and he's a player that just doesn't really stand out to you. He's a bell cow back. He reminds me of like J from last year. He went to the Dolphins.
Yeah, when you think about it, that's actually a really good comparison. But there are tons of positions that were like almost exactly the same on, except for linebacker. I don't know about your linebacker. You got a Landon Roberts in there?
Yo, he's sick.
I know he's sick. I don't know if he's getting drafted
right now, bro. The man is sick.
Hey, you have a Landon Roberts. I have Jatavis Brown. Like,
yeah, linebacker's kind of an interesting position because it's one that's going under so much change in the NFL now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because
it's hard to really evaluate who's going to stick where because you got the safeties coming down, you got some people bumping out and flexing and doing all this shit. So you never
in the NFL 10 years ago.
Yeah,
because he's only what, like 210? He's your size.
Yeah,
well, our size because we're both about 210.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man.
All right. So, anyways, as I was saying, so we're just going to go back and forth. Lawson is going to do all of the odd numbers because his team picks an odd number, and he's a guest, and my team picks on an even number, and it's perfect. And if we have to, maybe I'll go back and at the end of this and round it all off and do pick 32 for the Browns, so it's even.
Fair. I'll give you 32.
Perfect. Thanks. It is my channel after all.
Yeah, whatever, bro.
All right. So basically, what we're gonna do, we're gonna say, for the team, the pick number. By the way, you got the draft order up because I don't.
I'd have to find the real new one.
Oh yeah, fuck, man! This week has been nuts.
Yeah,
I haven't even gotten a chance to put up a video about the Eagles getting the draft pick.
You guys gave it all away, bro.
Man.
Yeah, you guys are the next one.
I've been telling you and Cantor all off season that what we should have done was just say, fuck it, suck this year, and come back next year and get like Kaya or Watson or one of those guys. Just fuck it. And they went, nah, let's go get Wentz. Or are they?
Bad.
All right, so let me just quickly pull open the draft order, and so what I'll do is during the spiel that we give, probably 30 seconds or so, we'll go through, and I'll just type whoever just went, so we don't accidentally fuck up and repeat the same guy.
Yeah.
Updated. Yeah, there we go. I have a feeling that while we're going to be doing this, there's going to be someone that's traded a pick.
Probably. Like, I don't understand why you guys gave up almost more than the Rams gave up.
Oh, we did give up more, and we got less back.
Yeah, you get the 2 pick. So now you're kind of like, I'm sure they've heard something because what did I read? I read that the Eagles and um, the Rams had some sort of connection with each other, so they have to know who's going to take who.
Yeah, I mean, they normally do that anyways. So.
That's true, but still, they gave up. Honestly, they gave up way too much.
Oh yeah. All right. So should
And
we
then
get?
next year? You have like no draft next year, but whatever.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think the Titans honestly got a good deal out of it too. I like how they got 2 second-round picks this
Yeah,
year.
the Titans committed highway robbery, man.
Yeah, they got a pretty good go out of this.
Well, then again, when you go from 15-1, you should give up that much. I don't even think they should have gotten a pick back because they fleeced the Redskins and didn't even give the Redskins a pick.
That's true. Yeah,
Give the Redskins the second pick and nothing else.
that's true. But
All
still,
right, should we get this thing going? So, first pick, LA Rams. Who you got and why?
first pick, Los Angeles Rams. I'm going Carson Wentz.
All right, just write this down. So, number 1, Wentz.
Yeah, I'll do that too.
Yeah, I mean, with these quarterbacks, it is just what you like. I mean, don't get me wrong. People hear that I'm not as high on Wentz, and they think I just don't like him, and even you don't really think I like him. It's just I'm not sure if I would invest a first or second overall pick in a QB that's coming from a low level system. When you think about it, low level school.
I mean, I definitely see where you're coming from, and the D2 knock on him kind of scares some people off, but. I mean, he has everything you want to see. You know what I mean? You watch him at the combine, particularly, to be like, okay, I want to see what this guy can bring. And his numbers were there. Obviously, his statistics are there. The guy's won how many national championships? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and that's the thing is that it's not like he's coming from like in Alabama where it's like a traditional powerhouse that everyone knows about. But that's the FC. That is an FCS powerhouse. That's 5 straight national titles in games.
It's crazy.
He's been the starting QB for 2 of them, so I mean they keep cycling through. Yeah. All right, so I kind of figured you would go Wentz because we don't know at this point because the Rams just don't want to come out and say who it is.
And it's true, and I think me personally, I take Wentz over Goff in LA because I think they kind of have a different kind of idea of where they want to go with their offense. You know what I mean? I think they have a lot of speed and a lot of flexibility. And I just think Wentz gives you a little bit more of a dual threat than Goff does. So I think he's justified to trade up 14 spots. And
yeah, especially with Gurley being there, man, because if you want to build around the running back, then Wentz is perfect for that fit.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
He's a great fit.
Mm-hmm.
So my Philadelphia Eagles are now second on the clock after trading way too much. And you know what? I would have just said, fuck it. Here, have Ryan Matthews, Jordan Matthews. I don't know, Chip Kelly still have a son that works as an equipment manager. Take him too. Just fucking get rid of everything that has Chip Kelly's name on it.
True.
That being said, this is, again, 1 and 2. It's just going to be the same 2 guys, just whether who's going where. So number 2, I'm going Goff.
Goff, eh?
Really much of a surprise. He's my 5th ranked player on my board. I don't.
Here's what I want to ask you though.
Yeah,
you have, a guy who you're paying a top dollar for at that QB position. Who
Bradford at what, $20 million over the next 2 years or something like that, and $8 million next year for what's his name, Daniel.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to think is
why.
Yeah, why? You know what I mean? Like you have, I'm not going to say a game changer at the positions but you definitely have enough, and you have enough pieces around him to make it happen. You know what I mean? So are we taking Goff as a 1-year project, 2-year Aaron Rodgers kind of thing? Like I want to hear what you think.
I personally wouldn't have traded up. I would have just stayed at 8 and got Ezekiel Elliott. But from what I'm hearing, I was watching Path to the Draft today, and Daniel Jeremiah was talking about potentially not Daniel. Daniel will probably be kind of the Chad Henne role for Blake Bortles, just a couple of games just to get him used to the system, and Bradford could end up in Denver or as a Jet or just
Oh, yeah.
Fuck up out of there because he's shit. I never thought that Sam Bradford was worth the number one pick, even back then. And I wasn't half the draft head that I was back then because I thought Colt McCoy was the best quarterback in that class. He may still be the best.
Bro. That's questionable.
Colt McCoy in 2010. I thought Blaine Gabbert was the best in 2011. Man, 5 years ago, I made terrible draft decisions.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
All right.
I think with what's his name, Bradford. I think he could definitely have a little bit of a comeback here. I mean, like I said, you guys have some definite pieces in there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And is Bradford necessarily a Chip Kelly quarterback? I mean, I think that's a rhetorical question, but
is there such a thing as a Chip Kelly quarterback? I don't know. Marcus Mariota is the closest thing to it, and we almost paid the entire farm last year because last year's deal was like the first, the second, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Boykin, and Michael Kendricks.
Yeah, I remember reading about that. And one of my good friends on the team's an Eagles fan, and I looked at him and I was like, man, if you guys do this, never watch another game again. Like, don't ever do it. Like, what they were thinking about doing there was it was going to make history for sure. And I think that's kind of what Chip Kelly's all about.
Yeah, he likes to make history, but not in a good way.
Yeah, and just some way or another, he doesn't really give a shit. But
all right, so now this is where the draft gets interesting because this is when the draft actually starts becoming unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's your team, man. It's your San Diego Chargers. We're back to back in real life, man.
Chargers are on the clock. Now, this is an interesting situation because having those two teams traded up and presumably going to take quarterbacks 1 and 2, us being a team that doesn't have a quarterback need, it's technically the first overall pick for us. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a trade here, some team jumping up to get, your Jalen Ramseys or your Laramie Tunsil's and whoever else, because those are the guys that they're, obsessed with. And at the third pick, the first price premium is not really there anymore. So it's going to be interesting to see what we do. I think throughout the whole draft process, we've kind of been up in the air as who we could take. We've had, so many targets. It's been Tunsil or Ramsey, Buckner, Bosa. I've seen Carson Wentz or Paxton Lynch to us at number 3. And
Lynch at 3? Oh,
yeah. These were like early in the year, but
back before Wentz had his crazy Senior Bowl week.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. But I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna say for the 3rd overall pick, my San Diego Chargers, we're gonna take Laramie Tunsil, left tackle, Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's a damn good pick. That's the number 1 player in this class, man. So
yeah, I mean, like I said, with all the players that have been on the board, the Jalen Ramsey, who's, I think he's going to be an amazing player in this league.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he's going to do wonders for our secondary and change our game. Having seen our O-line play in the last 2-3 years, it honestly saddens me. And I honestly feel bad for Phillip Rivers sometimes because of how much he gets hit, especially in, our division, which is pretty loaded with pass rush.
You're telling me you don't trust an offensive line that's headed by King Dunlap and DJ Fluker?
No. I mean, King had a good year. King had a good year for us 1 year, but then he's just been injury prone, and none of us can stay healthy, honestly. I think we're going to make this and one other move for an O-lineman, either a guard or a center in the 2nd or 3rd rounds. I wouldn't be surprised there.
And a good guard class to do so, man. I think I got 6 or 7 in my top 100. Like they're everywhere.
I think we could wait until the top of the 3rd and definitely get some value there. But then other than these picks, I see us going defense.
Actually, if you really want to get the running game going with Gordon, Sebastian Treadle in the 3rd would be great.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying. I think if we're going to go O-lineman other than Tunsil, it's going to be at the center position. Just because, we have Jonathan Franklin, and then we're still working with the Fluker project, trying to make that work. And then Chris Watt at center, he hasn't done anything for us. So
you mean Orlando Franklin? Jonathan Franklin was that running back from UCLA.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Hey, Canada's own. High five, Canada.
Go Canada.
All right, so the Dallas Cowboys. What would Nitaraj do? He'd probably want a quarterback and want to go Lynch, but we're not going to do that.
No, I think he'd go Elliott. I think he'd go Ezekiel Elliott.
Man, they got so many issues when it comes to that defense because Greg Hardy is Greg Hardy. DeMarcus Lawrence is suspended.
Yeah.
But I mean, that secondary for them is shit too.
Right, and this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah, now literally anyone is up for grabs because you could go Elliott, you could go Ramsey, you could go Bosa,
you could go Jack.
Oh fuck, Miles. Yeah, but I'm starting to hear he might fall out of the top 10 due to his knee.
That's what I'm hearing too. But I mean, for a linebacker who has a 40-inch vertical with like an 80% knee,
yeah.
The guy's a freak.
And I think that this is a product of the fact that the draft shouldn't have been extended an extra week or two like it was when they started moving it to primetime. Because now it's just fucking annoying with all the shit that they find to harp on people, like Teddy Bridgewater's, skinny knees, or the fact that Marcus Mariota had too clean of a record and didn't even have a parking ticket.
Yeah, I think honestly a lot of that stuff just stems from this kind of dull media period we have, because from really the combine to the draft, there's not a whole lot of coverage to be done. You know what I mean? There's pro days and stuff like that, but
once the pro days are over, it's fucked, and it's man, you just want it to be fucking over.
Yeah, I mean, we're just sitting here twiddling our thumbs for 3 weeks. Just what do we do? There's nothing to do, so people make up these stories to just kind of feed the media.
Yeah. All right. So, anyways, back on track. The Cowboys. You know what? It's a passing league, so you got to go defense, but they have had no pass rush there for years. So I'm going to go Bosa. He's
Bosa, eh?
Yeah, I'm looking at my board now. I've got him as my 6th ranked player, so not too much of a reach, but I think it fits a great need. And I've got a buddy of mine here at York from Montreal who's a Cowboys fan. He said he wanted Bosa, so that's my shout out to him. I'm going to go Bosa.
He's a great player, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if with some of the players we have here, man, honestly, if it ends up being Ezekiel Elliott at 4,
I'm not going to be surprised.
I think it'd be an honest to God heavenly combination that they could put together there.
Oh, with him in that offensive line, absolutely.
Quite honestly, the only reason they didn't make the playoffs this year, the Cowboys, was because Romo just wasn't playing. Other than that, I think they would have competed for a wild card, if not the division. I don't think Washington would have taken it as easily as they did, kind of at the stretch there, right?
Speaking of Washington, I'll get back. Did you see what Norman tweeted? You have Twitter, right?
I don't have Twitter, actually.
Okay, so you didn't see what Josh Norman tweeted out, obviously.
No.
He met with the Redskins today. They were the first team to meet with him, and he's already tweeted out a smiley face. I'm assuming he's just become a Redskin, and I don't know what to think of that.
On a side note, kind of to what you're talking about, what the fuck are the Panthers doing here? They had this guy locked up. They had him for the year, and then you can worry about contracts after that, and then they just take it back for no reason.
Yeah, we'll get back to that when we get to Carolina in a bit. But I mean, what the fuck? Seriously, what the fuck are they doing? They just had the best corner in the league from last year.
Yeah,
just walk out the door.
Yeah, and they willingly let it happen. They had him locked down.
They locked up for the franchise tag, and they went, nah, fuck it, nah.
And they could have done, contract negotiations through the season and after the season. But the thing is, it's the franchise tag and what you would have paid him for a multiple year deal would probably be similar, I would think, guaranteed money-wise. You know what I mean?
Money-wise, I think total, come on, Janoris Jenkins got $65 million. I think I'd pay him a little bit more than I paid Janoris Jenkins.
I don't know how the fuck he got that from the Giants.
I don't know how the fuck Olivier Vernon got $85 million.
What are the Giants doing? That's a good question as well.
I think maybe they're trying to just become the Oakland Raiders from 2011, where they just paid it.
No, bro. They're trying to become your Eagles from a couple years back, but with second bit players. Yeah.
All right. So Jacksonville at 5.
Jacksonville's on the clock. I think, honestly, this one's really easy, and you just go Ramsey at this point. Ramsey, who is the number 1 player for a lot of people, honestly. You go take him here at 5, and I know we've done a lot of work in our secondary, as Jacksonville has with Amukamara and Gibson. you can fit Ramsey in. There's no way you
I mean,
can't.
their safeties aren't good. Cyprian is probably at best a borderline starter, and that's disappointing because he was one of my favorite players in that incredibly weak draft in 2013.
Yeah, he actually was one of mine too. I was hoping we would get him.
Yeah, I had him going mid to late. I had him going late first round with the second pick for the Rams that year. And I received a lot of flack, and he was like the first pick the next day. That's a great pick. I think Ramsey projects best as a safety at the next level. I mean, he hasn't played safety technically, but I do think that's his best position.
You think so? I think you trust him a little bit, and you go with what he's saying. He says he's a corner. You know what I mean? He says he plays corner.
Like yours screen or my screen that's making that?
Mine, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries, because I got one that's got a video open on mine as well, but I think I got it on mute.
Yeah. Yeah, he says he's a corner, so you kind of let him play around. You know what I mean? Their corners there are weak. I mean, you have a Kamara there, but other than that, who we have?
You could pretty much just have him play anything in the secondary, and you'd be set.
Yeah,
just
I mean, he can play all over. You can put him in the nickel, put him out to the boundary, put him in the back, like way in the backfield at safety, and he can do it all. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Strictly based on value alone, I think this is a great pick. I've seen Miles Jack here as well, and I think that could work well for them. But again, with knee, you take a solid, healthy prospect all day over it.
Yeah, I mean, this draft getting really shaken up with the trades at the top two. I think if those two trades don't happen, then your Chargers go and get Ramsey at 3, and this is Miles Jack. But I mean, anarchy. So 6th pick, Baltimore. I mean, Bosa's off the board, so that takes off the 3-4 pass rusher to replace Pernell McPhee, because I'm not taking Shaq Lawson this early.
Yeah, that's true.
No, he is a Lawson. I'm still not.
My boy. That's my boy.
So, I mean, that defensive line, they like to go really big. When you can put Haloti Ngata as a 3-4 defensive end and it doesn't seem ridiculous.
But we don't use that name lightly, right? We're saying Haloti Ngata here, so.
Yeah. So, I mean, they didn't really find anyone to replace him when they got him last year. He fell into their lap. We got to go Buckner.
Buckner, eh?
Yep. I have Buckner, just looking at my board right now as it keeps sending me into the 80s. Buckner's my 4th ranked player.
He's a great player, man. I watch film on this guy, and I just get so excited. And for the longest time, I wanted us to take him. But obviously, with recent situations of what had happened, I think we can definitely wait till, maybe 2 or 3 to still get a good D tackle in there. But we have to address it because we let Kendall Reyes walk out the door.
Well, I mean, that's probably a good thing for the team because Kendall Reyes is pretty booty, man.
Yeah, he is poo for sure. We let Ricardo Matthews, walk out the door, who I felt was a very good relief player, quite honestly. He always made plays, and his motor was fantastic. And we just let both of them walk. So we definitely have to do something in terms of addressing that 3-4 defensive end position. But I think there's definitely the depth in this class to get it done. So.
Oh my God, there are so many, dude. I looked. I think I have 14 defensive tackles in my top 100.
It's nuts, man.
And there's more that you could find, in the later rounds too. Like it's insane. I don't have Adolphus Washington in my top 100. That's how deep this class is.
That's pretty nuts, yeah.
All right, so you're on the clock now as Chip Kelly in the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, man.
Mr. Teletubby, Chip Kelly, what do you do?
I should just Trevon Boykin, with the whole Chip Kelly mentality. No, but I'm going to go see, this is interesting because I was hoping you weren't going to say Buckner, and I probably would have given Buckner to them.
To pair up with Eric Armstead.
Yeah, and I think that'd be a pretty mean,
combo. And I mean, they're both Oregon guys, so he meets the curriculum. This could be Vernon Adams.
I really hope it's not. I'm not going to say anything more than that. But I think at 7 is an interesting position based upon who's still on the board. Do you go quarterback? I know that's,
Oh, I wouldn't. I wouldn't, especially after those two. I like Paxton Lynch more than I like Wentz, but I'm not taking Lynch that high.
I don't think so either. I think 7's too high, especially when you still have Kaepernick, who is on the decline.
Yeah,
Still paying him a good amount of money to do something. You know what I mean?
yeah.
This tough pick for me. I mean, Ronnie Stanley seems pretty appealing to me here. Treadwell seems pretty appealing. I know it may be a little bit high for him, but they definitely need the help there. They have no receivers under 35 years of age, or what's the deal going on in San Francisco?
Oh no, don't forget Torrey Smith. But I mean, Torrey Smith is Torrey Smith.
Torrey Smith only runs a 9 route. That's it. We need someone to do it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. All right, so
I'm gonna go Stanley though. I definitely think
Ronnie Stanley.
a solid left tackle who I don't think Stanley and what's his face Tunsil are that far apart necessarily. I think Tunsil's a little bit more aggressive and physical, which makes him a little bit better in the run game. But Stanley's pass pro is like just on par with Tunsil's, which
Exactly.
is
I mean,
impressive category.
another name I could throw out there for the Niners that maybe, unfortunately, because it's Chip Kelly, wouldn't fit the system, but definitely fits a need would be Ezekiel Elliott. But I mean, he fucked up DeMarco Murray so bad that I don't want to even test him with Ezekiel Elliott.
Well, that's true, but I definitely like what they have going on there with Carlos Hyde. I think
again, Carlos Hyde very similar to Murray in a lot of ways. We'll have to see how that one plays out. So the Cleveland Browns. So they're not going to pick a quarterback for the first time in the first round for the first time in what seems like about 16 years.
Yeah, that seems about accurate.
But I mean, the Browns are going to do what the Browns do.
Obvious? Yeah, is this one obvious?
I don't know, man, because the thing is, they could literally go anywhere. But
they could. I mean, they have a lot of holes, but they have a lot of picks to fill them now. So
exactly.
But I don't know. It's your pick. You do what you got to do, man.
Best player on the board. My number 3 player in this whole class is still there. I'm going Miles Jack.
Jack.
Craig Robertson in free agency and replaced him with Demario Davis from the Jets. Yes, someone was actually willing to sign with the Browns. That's a thing that happened. And, I think Miles Jack is, well, pardon the pun, miles ahead of literally everyone else on that roster.
Yeah, I would also agree. And I think – see, my obvious pick here was going to be Ezekiel Elliott, quite honestly. I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they give up on Duke Johnson, though, or Crowell, even though that he's better than both of them by so much.
And that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? I think you can let Crowell, walk or maybe trade bait or something like that to a needy team.
Late round pick.
But Ezekiel is just hands down above them both. You know what I mean? But I definitely like where you're going with Jack here, with the understanding that they need a bunch of holes filled, especially on defense.
Yeah,
you can kind of fit in and hybrid around, so you can relieve some of the tension more so. You know what I mean, with one player. So I definitely appreciate Miles Jack there.
You could still potentially play Miles Jack at running back.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to.
But you could.
You could. You definitely could.
All right, 9 in Tampa Bay. What you got?
I'm going Hargraves. Vernon Hargraves.
Yeah, I mean, because of the needs in this class for QBs, Hargraves plummeted down a lot of boards. I've seen him as low as I did see a mock draft today that had him going 30th. So I mean,
and that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Tampa Bay is a team that is definitely going in the right direction and putting it together. And you have this kind of guy on the board. You have to pick him up on defense because he's going to come and he's going to change the secondary. You know what I mean? He's going to put a spark in there.
He'll be what they thought Alteron Werner was going to be.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, and
cheaper.
Yeah, of course.
All right, 10 and the New York. I seem to be getting the entire NFC East. The New York Giants. Man.
This is a good one.
This one's a good one because, again, it's another one where there's a lot of ways to go. Stanley's off the board, and I'm not sure if I'd take Conklin this high, as much as I like him.
And that's the thing. I've seen him here, man. I showed you that one. Where was he? He's going to number 3.
Yeah, that one had him go. That one had what was it? Tunsil going 3, and this was 3 months ago or something. It had Conklin going 5. and
Yeah.
I almost fell the fuck over.
Yeah. That was great.
Just looking at my board, you know what? There's a need. He's still there. This is going to pain me as an Eagles fan to do this, but I'm going Elliott.
Yeah, I think that's the safest bet, quite honestly, man.
Because Treadwell, I'm not taking a receiver that high unless I know he can be my number one, and I already have Odell Beckham on my team if I'm the Giants. Elliott, I mean, Rashad Jennings is great for a 30-year-old running back. Andre Williams is terrible.
You said great?
Great for a 30-year-old running back.
AP is great for a 30-year-old running back.
No, AP is greatness, just personified.
Fair.
Matt Forte is great. Just end of story. Rashad Jennings is great for a 30-year-old running back. How many 30-year-old running backs are still in the league?
Yeah, he's good, but Elliott's way better. Elliott's way better.
Oh, they fucked up Shane Vereen last year too, man. That was a terrible move by him to go to the Giants, where they just
that was pretty bad.
Fucking use them. All right, 11 in Chicago. This one's interesting to me because they can go a lot of different ways.
Mm-hmm. And in every draft I see, it seems like it changes up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's corner. I've seen safety, linebacker. I've seen Ragland go this high, and I think that's.
You've seen Ragland here, eh?
Yeah, I've seen Ragland here. Maybe 2 months ago, Ragland would have been a good fit here. Not now.
No.
He's real.
One name that I've seen kind of kicked around, especially recently, is Leonard Floyd. I mean, I think he has a lot of buzz going around him for a reason I don't really know. I mean, I think people trust Chris Sims way more than they should.
Well, okay, I'll answer back on that one. I was very low on Leonard Floyd for a bit as well. I had him at like 49 on my board, and then I went back and watched more. If you watched a lot of Georgia last year, they had guys so out of place. Jordan Jenkins, who's a great edge rusher in this class that you can get in like round 2 or 3, maybe even round 4, was defensive tackle at 48. Leonard Floyd was playing middle linebacker and covering people in the slot, and like
I don't understand that.
Because Georgia didn't know what the fuck they were doing on defense. So I think in that case, if he's purely told to just pin his ears back and just go get the quarterback, yes. 11 though, still too high for me.
I think 11 is still high, but I think this is kind of a situation where you can kind of reach based upon need. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Based upon who's gone also in the draft so far, I think you can definitely try to reach a little bit and hope something can kind of come out of that. And that's making this really tough for me because I'm really thinking about going corner for them because I don't know what Fuller did last year, but it wasn't a lot. And then everybody else in their secondary, I don't even know who they are. So
I'm wondering which corner you got because I think our corner rankings are way off from each other.
You think so, eh?
I think so. I think I know where you're going to go with this.
Recently I've actually watched a lot of tape on the corners. And I think a couple weeks ago I probably would have gone Alexander.
That's where I thought you were going to go.
I would have probably gone there before, but now I'm going to switch up and go William Jackson.
There you go. There's my second ranked true corner. So William, we're on the same page.
The guy is
good.
Fucking good. He can play some football, and like he's exactly what you want in the corner. He's big, he's fast, he's physical, and he plays the ball so beautifully. And then there's just
destroyed FSU. I mean, that was sold for me.
Mm-hmm. Watching that game film from like a bunch of people's perspectives too. Watching the Houston Florida State game really put a lot of people into perspective for me.
All right, so we've gone through 11 picks. I'm just going to name off some of the top guys that are still there. My 9th rated guy, is it Jaron or is it Jaron? I think he said it's Jaron Reed. That was Darren Lee. And those are the top 2 guys outside of where we've actually picked. Yeah, so we've had my 11th and 13th guy. Other than that, it's just the top 10 that's already off.
All right.
Okay, so next, the New Orleans Saints. Now, they're a team that needs a lot of things as well.
Jesus.
Running back, but Elliott's gone. They could go Lynch and have him sit behind Breeze, but they drafted Garrett Grayson last year. Their offensive line isn't great. Their defensive line isn't great. Their linebackers aren't great, and their corners are shit. Yes. And I'm not willing to reach on Eli Apple at 12. So I'm gonna go. I think they're gonna go hybrid defense under Dennis Allen, and you can still get to the quarterback in a shit ton of ways in that respect. So I'm gonna go with my best, my second best defensive lineman, the best available on the board right now, and I'm gonna go Jarran Reed.
Really?
Yeah, I like him because I think he hasn't quite finished developing yet.
I'm guilty of not giving him enough credit as I think he deserves. I've honestly watched more Ashawn Robinson than I have him. And I think he definitely gets, shadowed a little bit because he is a fantastic player. There's no doubting that. And in a lot of people's draft circles and stuff, he's higher than Robinson in pretty much all of them.
Yeah, which is a little bit. He doesn't rush the passer like Ashawn does, but he's a lot stouter against the run than Ashawn.
But I'm surprised you didn't go, Rankins here. To be honest with you, or like Kevin Dodd or Shaq Lawson. Like
Lawson would
consider a solid pass rush because we talked pass rushers before with who was it? Who were we talking about?
With Leonard Floyd a few minutes ago.
Yeah, but. I mean, I think the Saints haven't had a pass rush for a long time, man. And that's why you went Bosa to the Cowboys. They haven't had a pass rush in forever.
Oh, I know. But, I mean, I was higher on rankings a couple of weeks ago than I am now. It's just that, I looked at the tape and, I compared just what I was feeling the vibe of. And so, all right, I think Jarran Reed's going to go higher. Sheldon Rankins is good. He could be the next Aaron Donald, even though Chris Sims says that Aaron Donald is a very mediocre defensive tackle in terms of stoutness.
Yeah, which is odd.
Yeah, well, Chris Sims thinks that Hassan Ridgeway is the best defensive tackle in the class. So.
True. And I can see where Chris Sims is coming from. Don't get me wrong. I can see how maybe, Donald has the tendency to maybe not take a double team on, like head on very well.
Yeah.
The guy can split them so beautifully right off the snap of the ball with that little like swim move that it doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? Like it's beautiful. TFLs all day.
All right. So you're back at it with Miami Dolphins, who were originally the 8th pick
on the clock.
13th pick and may trade back up to 8 with Cleveland from what I'm hearing.
I wouldn't be surprised if we did see a trade here just so they can get a little bit more value.
Still a lot of needs on that team, man.
There is, honestly. And it's tough.
Every year I hear Kantar talking about how this is going to be their year where they win the Super Bowl. You know what he told me the other day? This is going to be our year where we win more games than the Eagles. That's all he wants now. He just wants to outwin the Eagles.
Yeah.
That's not exactly going to be difficult to do next year, but still.
True. I think it's interesting here because is Mario Williams necessarily the best replacement or efficient for Olivier Vernon to pair with Cam Wake?
Deion Jordan's still on their payroll.
Which is interesting, yeah. I mean, I think that's more than enough to scare them away from defensive end, although it is tempting here.
Yeah.
If we're going to go offensive tackle to kind of replace Brandon Albert, I think, or not really replace him, but kind of, add like more value, like a swing tackle almost, or if he starts declining, which he has been.
You could kick him in guard too. Billy Turner should not be playing left guard.
No, he shouldn't be. But I think Conklin could fit at 13 here. I'm also thinking corner, like in the secondary, but I don't know if I'd go Alexander yet. Jeez, I'm going to go the safe pick, honestly. I'm going to go Conklin, Michigan State.
I got Conklin. Looking at my board right quick. It keeps sending me into like really weird areas. I got him as my 14th player. So
yeah, we're kind of right around there. And I think again, you still have Brandon Albert there, but he's almost done. You know what I mean? And
yeah, he keeps getting injured.
yeah, and
Conklin play guard. A lot of teams are looking at Conklin as a potential guard at first too.
And he's a solid player. He is, you know, he's a good player. And Tannehill's recently struggled, and I think getting him, you know, a little bit of security from his blind side is going to help him kind of find his groove again.
Exactly. You are going to hate if this plays out for the next team, because I know that as a Chargers fan, you hate the fact that the Raiders are starting to get good again. They're no longer
honestly, because that was a team I could always bank on. You know what I mean? 2 wins a year, but now they're actually putting together a squad. I was actually looking at their draft the last couple years.
Remember when Reggie McKenzie, everyone wanted him fired?
Incredible draft. I don't know what McKenzie's secret is, but he's making it happen, bro. Like you think
the worst GM in the league to probably one of the best now.
Absolutely. I would say he's the best hands down. The last 2-3 drafts they had have all been A+. He's headed out of the park in the first, second, and third rounds, and late finds too. Like we look at this last year, right? They go Amari Cooper, home run.
Yeah.
Then in round 2, you get Mario Edwards, a home run again. And then the year before that, you get Mack and Carr.
Year before that, they got didn't they get they got Gabe Jackson in round 3?
In the third, yeah, with Derek Carr draft.
Oh, that was Derek Carr. Yeah, they got him in. That was the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, and then this year in the third round, they got Clive Walford.
Yeah. All right, 14. There is one area of weakness on this team, believe it or not. Yes, the pass rush could use a little bit of work because Aldon Smith isn't going to be playing there next year. But, I mean, Malcolm Smith is their best linebacker. There's a linebacker that's available in this range that can fly around the field. I'm going Darren Lee. You can put him in the middle of the defense. He's just rangy. I wasn't high on him at first. I started watching a little bit more tape on him after the Senior Bowl. He went from about, I don't even think he was on my top 50, and then he ended up, I believe, in around the low, 30 to 35 range. Now he's at 9, so he just keeps rising for me.
Yeah, he's a good player for sure. Where do you see him though?
In this defense, I'd put him at middle linebacker.
Really?
Yeah.
And you'd take him over like a Reggie Ragland if you're looking to go middle linebacker?
Yes, because I don't really think that Ragland is a 3-down linebacker.
Touche.
All right, 15, the Tennessee Titans, who are picking, well, with a 3-13 record at 15.
Which is interesting. And
yeah, that's definitely unusual.
I like the move that they did here.
Yeah.
And whose mock draft was it? I think it was Daniel Jeremiah's from a couple days ago. He had him selecting Taylor Decker with the 15th pick, which
I'm not as high on Decker. I have him. Well, I've got him at 20, but I mean, I also think he's a bit of a deep. I don't know if you saw the tackles during the combine. Like dead weighting the guys trying to go at him with the bag. It was kind of dickish.
Yeah, I think he was as well.
It was even more annoying.
And I think there's still some tackle depth here that you can take.
Man. Just at tackle, we got Billings, we got Rankins, we got Ashawn Robinson, Vernon Butler. Just we haven't had a lot on tackles yet, and this is weird.
Yeah, this is tough for me because since these kind of major trades have happened, I haven't really had a chance to really sit down and evaluate who I think is going to be there. And especially in the draft we're doing right now, it's honestly putting me in a pretty tight situation trying to think who we could go. You know what I mean? I think maybe corner you could go.
Yeah, corner would be great because you never know with McCourty whether or not he just ultimately decides, fuck it, I want to go win some fucking games elsewhere.
Yeah, and that's definitely true.
And they run 3-4, so you could get a defensive tackle and convert them. Yeah,
that's also true. I mean, there's a lot of holes on this roster. There's no getting in that one. They were the first overall pick for a reason, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, quarterback set.
Yeah.
We established that.
Yeah, that's true. Um, but I think I'm gonna go Jason Spriggs. Honestly,
Spriggs, there's our first big surprise.
I like Spriggs more than I like Decker. That's for sure.
All right, let me find Spriggs because I did you know me, I did a ton of tape study like a week or two ago when I was figuring this out. Spriggs fell big time for me just because I thought he tried to win way too much with athleticism. Yeah, you're not gonna like. I have him as my 66th ranked player.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got.
I think if we're looking at who's on the board here, I would personally, I don't go defensive end or
Yeah,
I think Rankins. I think they could fit. What? Don't get me wrong. You put him in there with Dick LeBeau. I mean, he can make it happen.
imagine that pass rush when you have Jarrell Casey at nose tackle and you have Sheldon Rankins on the other end.
It would be pretty sick, but I mean,
they're both undersized.
You just invested very highly in someone who's going to, hopefully be the face of your franchise for the next 10 years, 10 years plus.
Yeah.
And while you already have, Taylor Lewan, who's a pretty good player, you can keep him on the left side and put Spriggs at the right side, and you can kind of try to develop him there. So I'm going there. I'm confident. I don't care about your rankings. Spriggs.
Did someone say Rankins? Because I'm just going to make that my segue. Detroit Lions, they need someone to rush the passer from the defensive tackle spot now that Sue's gone, and I'm going to go Sheldon Rankins.
That's a good pick there, man.
That's one of those where if he's still there, I mean, he's the best interior pass rusher at this point that's left. I'm running that card up.
Yeah, you run up with the card. There's no doubt about that one.
Well, we're now halfway through the first round, and we haven't had a single wide receiver drafted. This is not a great wide receiver draft.
I think there's definitely names that can pull the first round title, but I just think it's how am I trying to say this? There's too many other good players for you to just not take them, and it's kind of the year where people understand that okay, these are good players, these are first round players, but we can get them in the second because of all the other studs that we have up here. You know what I mean?
This is a class that's filled with guys that compare well to, a poor man's DeAndre Hopkins or their Golden Tate. They're all either big and slow or small and slow.
Fair.
One of my favorite wide receivers is Hunter Sharp from Utah State. You can get him in round 5.
Yeah, that's bad.
All right, you're back with 17 in Atlanta. 17. Another team with a lot of needs, surprisingly.
Yeah, the Atlanta Falcons. I'm gonna go.
Corners in need. They might be looking at defensive tackle. I heard Kenny Clark's name at 17 for the first time.
Yeah, I've heard that too, but I think after you take Vic Beasley high last year, and while he didn't have a terrible season, he didn't have what a top 10 pick should have. And I think you can definitely justify going after a pass rusher again. I think I'm going to stay in state here. I'm going to go Leonard Floyd for them.
What I was about to say, we haven't had an edge rusher go off the board in a while. Floyd is basically right on par with where you got him. He is my 17th ranked player, so yeah, it's right on par.
There you go, man.
All right, 18 in Indianapolis. That offensive line is still bad, but I'm not sure if I'd take Conklin. Their pass rush is bad because they released Bjorn Werner. Jonathan Newsom was released. They got nothing as far as rushing the passer. Floyd's off the board. So for me, I'm looking at this. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott's a long gone at this point. I'm not going to take a flyer on Kenneth Dixon at 17. That would be stupid.
Henry? Would you go Henry here?
Oh, Henry's my 7th ranked running back. So yeah, I got him behind, obviously Elliott, then Dixon, then Booker, Alex Collins, Paul Perkins, and DeAndre Washington from Texas Tech.
Yeah. All right.
I don't see the hype, man. I don't see the hype. I don't see the vision, and he's not willing to try to break contact. He just tries to get by on the fact that he's fast, but, I mean, everyone in the NFL is fast, too.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, 18. Well, there's you got to get to the quarterback, especially with Bortles. If you want to take that division back from Osweiler and you want to keep Bortles out of there, you got to get them on their backs. I'm gonna go Shaq Lawson.
Hey, the boy. You're going him over Kevin Dodd. Have you kind of decided who you like more between the two of them?
I like Lawson just a little more. I've got Shaq as my 12th ranked guy and Dodd as my 22nd.
Hmm.
So they're close.
Yeah.
In between, I threw in Floyd to avoid having Clemson followed by Clemson.
Fair, yeah.
I think really they're all kind of mix and match, and it's all just what you see and what you prefer.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Lawson did it consistently over 2 years, whereas Kevin Dodd really kind of just had 3 games.
Yeah. True.
All right,
All right.
Buffalo.
19. The Buffalo Bills. A lot of the mock drafts I've seen break my heart, and they always go Kindichi here.
That's too early for me.
And that's the thing. A guy who's, preseason hyped up to be a top 5, 3, or even the first overall pick of the draft.
But just doesn't have the film. He's got all the potential in the world, but the film is just not there.
And it's interesting because neither his statistics, you know what I mean? But
oh yeah, you and I were talking about this because he had like the 23 tackles on the season, and you went, "Oh, that's not bad." And then I sent you the fact that DeForest Buckner had 87, and you're like, "No, that's pretty shit."
yeah, it's crazy, but he does show you things where it's like, okay, that's insane. I don't know how you're supposed to do that. And his testing numbers are incredible. The guy looks like the old world team.
And as you said, I mean, maybe falling out of 4 stories of a building while drunk and stoned. I mean,
that's a pretty good test. Like the guy can survive.
I mean, that you passed the God test.
Yeah, like that's crazy how he walked away from that. But
I don't like the fact that he tried to throw Laramie Tunsil under the bus, but the man survived a 4-story fall out a window.
Pretty intense, yeah. So I see him here, and it breaks my heart because I'm really hoping if we don't go, like Buckner or maybe even Bosa at the top, we can maybe slide in and get Kindichi at the top of the second is my dream situation.
So you're gonna go Kindichi at 19?
I'm not gonna go Kindichi at 19.
You've seen him go 19. Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna go Reggie Ragland though.
Reggie Ragland. That's a good pick. I mean, they don't have a lot at linebacker there in Buffalo.
No.
That's a good pick.
I think he's what Rex Ryan likes, that kind of downhill heavy thumper who's just going to destroy people, you know what I mean? And I think he pairs well with that defense. So
it's a great comparison, especially with Rex Ryan, to Bart Scott.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I don't think, because I mean, Ray Lewis was you could do a bit more in coverage with him than you could with Bart Scott. Bart Scott just went and beat the shit out of you for the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this is another pick where the draft could change a lot. 20 because they still don't have a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Until I found out that Jalen Smith isn't going to play next year, I kept thinking maybe that they were just going to replace Demario Davis with Jalen Smith and just how amazing that would be.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
But I'm not going to take him here. Wide receivers set. They have Forte. They got Ryan Clady to replace DeBrickashaw Ferguson.
Do you think maybe a Lynch could go here?
I think he could. And you know what? When you're in a situation like this where they don't have a lot of needs.
Mm.
I mean, if Ragland was there, which he isn't, he could be the pick.
I mean, maybe an Apple or Alexander wouldn't be out of the question here either.
Yeah, because I think I'm higher on Artie Burns than I am on. Well, I like Apple's my second-rated quarterback or cornerback. Sorry, then or third rank. Sorry, then Artie Burns, then Alexander, and I think Alexander and Apple will go before Burns.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you're so close to getting into the playoffs, and you're a quarterback away, and you've got to be prepared in case Ryan Fitzpatrick doesn't come back.
Yeah.
But you have Bryce Petty.
Who?
You have Bryce Petty.
The man fell off the face of the earth after he left Baylor, man.
Hey, and there's always Geno Smith.
Don't even say that, bro. The Jets fans listening are going to come after you and kill you, Doug.
All right, well, let's put it this way, man. Bryce Petty last year was someone where his whole thing was he's going to need a year or two to develop. Isn't that the same thing that's being said about Paxton Lynch? Who's going to start, Geno?
No.
So in that case, I'm going to go a little bit off the beaten path. If he were completely healthy, he'd be long gone by now. I'm going Carl Joseph.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, you could go corner, but I mean, as long as Revis is there, you really only need one good corner. And their safeties, I mean, Smith, who was the guy from Louisville a couple years ago?
Oh.
Pryor.
Yeah.
Pryor, he's good, and then you put Carl Joseph beside him, I think you're set in the secondary.
Yeah, but and I know you mentioned Joseph's injury, and I definitely agree with you. If he was healthy, he would have been gone already. The guy's an amazing player.
Yeah.
But because of the injury he suffered, would you maybe consider Keanu Neal?
Yeah, Neal's another really good safety. You could go Neal. I don't get the hype behind TJ Green.
I think it was his numbers everyone got impressed with.
I don't think Von Bell fits. I would see either it's going to be if it's a safety, it's either going to be Joseph or it's going to be Keanu Neal at that point. All right, 21, Washington Redskins. I've finally done it to take every member of the NFC East.
Yeah.
Could it be the start of the wide receiver run?
Man, I wasn't really thinking that way, but now that you've said it for sure, it kind of does ring some bells here.
I mean, Pierre Garçon's getting up there in age. Deshaun Jackson, I mean, he missed 7 games with a pulled hamstring. Des Bryant broke his foot and came back first.
Because initially I was thinking, maybe a Sean Robinson here. Maybe even like a Kenny Clark, maybe. You never know, right? I think they need help on that D-line.
I mean, Billings is still there, too. And they lost Knighton.
Yeah, that's true. Who I'm upset we didn't get in free agency, by the way. I was hoping we'd get him when he left Denver in the first place, but we didn't do that. So,
he's the perfect case of a guy who just, was never going to work unless it was in the right system, because he was terrible in Jacksonville. And then he went to Denver, and I mean,
he was sweet.
Hot roast, man.
He was so good. Yeah, I think I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball here. And I'm going to say that the Washington Redskins take Josh Doxson.
Yeah, I think that I've been hearing either he or Will Fuller could be the first one off the board. I'm not taking Will Fuller because, well, I mean, the guy's got hands like feet. I mean, I'm not sure who would drop more passes between him and Mackenzie Alexander. Like,
yeah, fair.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that the fast receivers in this class have bad hands.
That's true. Yeah, you look at him, Colby Liston as well.
Yeah, Doxson is great because, I mean, he's like 6'4". He can put on a little bit of size, but man, the dude can jump out of the gym.
I think he's him and Laquan Treadwell are very similar in terms of what they can do and physical build.
Yeah.
Doxson does it a step above Treadwell, and Doxson's my number 1 receiver, evidently. He's the first one off the board, but I think he's just better than Treadwell.
All right, 22, Houston Texans. I'm not sure if he makes it this far, and I think J.J. Watt gets really happy if he does get this far because they're going to terrify those fucking quarterbacks. Ashawn Robinson.
That's big. That's a voting right there.
Got J.J. Watt, 385-pound Vince Wilfork and A'Shaun Robinson. Those guys will murder your family. Like,
That's a long day.
That's a long fucking
That is a long day.
That's short and sweet to the point. 23. Who you got for the Vikings?
23 to the Vikings. This is another good question, my man. I think they could definitely need help at receiver.
Yeah, I mean, Stephon Diggs is the number one receiver this year.
Yeah, and at this point, is it, do you want to tread well because, you don't really have that bigger body receiver? Or do you kind of want to match speed with speed and you go Corey Coleman?
And they're inside again this year, too.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, inside with Teddy Bridgewater throwing, in a dome 8 games a year or 10 games a year because of Detroit.
Fair.
Ooh.
You know what? I'm going to say they go Treadwell here just because I think they benefit a little bit more from that size on the perimeter.
Yeah. I mean, Treadwell's got great hands, so.
He does, and he's definitely a great player. He can go up and he can get it, and he can run all those routes. And while the thought of Corey Coleman with, the speed of Bridgewater and Diggs and AP is pretty enticing to me, I think you just need to get a little bit of size more rather than speed in this situation.
Yeah. All right. Cincinnati Bengals, another team that could go wide receiver because they lost both Marvin Jones and Mohamed Sanu. But, I mean, AJ Green matched up with Corey Coleman.
That'd
be a great combo, but I'm not sure if it's the right move. Defensive tackle is another, need. Geno Atkins coming off an injury, and Doma Tepeko is not very good. I mean, to put it lightly, he just really isn't. I mean, God, Kevin Dodd is still available on our board.
The 2016 NFL Scouting.
Sorry.
No worries. But, I mean, they lost Andre Smith in free agency, didn't they? Or is he still there?
I think he might have jumped ship, but I can't remember where to.
I mean, even still, I mean, if I don't even know, how much of an impact does he make? And Andrew Whitworth's good, but he's getting old. Best player available. I mean, he's still here. Taylor Decker,
yeah.
Taylor Decker. I think that offensive line, especially considering Dalton got hurt last year, so
and that kind of might have sealed their fate too, in the stretch there.
All right, 25, Pittsburgh Steelers.
I might just say they forfeit their pick to fuck with Romano, but
fuck Romano. But seriously, all these years later, still fuck Romano.
Yeah, I feel you.
Dude almost got us all fucking expelled.
Good times, man.
Due to a fucking fantasy football league.
If you hadn't taken Joseph from me, I would have put him here.
Corner. I mean, how they keep drafting bad corners.
Yeah, and I don't think the streak would continue if they go with either, Burns or Alexander, whoever's left.
But sorry.
Yeah, they need a corner. I'm gonna go Artie Burns.
Artie Burns. All right. Yeah, I think
I have him kind of neck and neck.
Or Eli Apple are perfect for that pick.
Yeah, I have Burns ahead of Apple for sure, and then kind of neck and neck with Alexander. But the fact that Burns has gotten his hands on a ball and actually caught one kind of makes me trust him with millions of dollars. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, Burns' technique isn't sound, but I mean, you could coach that up easy.
Yeah.
26 Seahawks. I mean, they could go in a number of ways. That defensive line could still use some help. I mean, their interior is pretty shit. But, I mean, again, another case of a really good player still being around. So, I mean, you could go Vernon Butler. You could go Kevin Dodd. But my 15th ranked player fits a need. He's still there. I'm going Billings.
Really?
I mean, lost Mebane, too. So, There's your Brandon Mebane replacement. Just get another version of him.
You don't consider Chris Jones here?
No, I'm not high on Chris Jones as much as everyone else is. I mean, Chris Jones, when he decides he wants to, actually give a crap, could be a first-round pick. But there are so many games where he looks like he's a third or a fourth-round pick. I just balanced it out and put him as like a mid-third.
Okay.
27, the Green Bay Packers. They keep filling needs with older guys like Jared Cook. I mean, they could go offensive tackle still, but I'm not sure if there's one there.
What the fuck is this cat doing?
Is your cat causing a fuss as well?
Yeah.
Mine's running around my basement, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Wanted to jump up on the table and get in the camera.
Who's he picking?
He doesn't give a shit. And you put me in a tight situation here.
Yeah, there's not a lot there that they fucking need. The Packers always go best available anyways.
That's true, because they're usually in a pretty good situation. You know what I mean? Like they've built their team well.
Yeah.
I mean, Hunter Henry. Like, is this like?
I wouldn't, because this tight end class is so bad.
It is, and they definitely need help there.
But they lost Casey Hayward in free agency, and they didn't really replace him.
True. But
they do have Demarius Randall, who's a safety that can play corner. Fuck.
And he showed stuff last year too.
BJ Raji replacement would be the only other thing I could think of.
Yeah, I think they definitely need help at inside backer too.
Yeah, so they can find
maybe the Kentrell brothers, maybe. How is the Kentrell brothers here at 27?
Jeez, man. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, obviously with us, we don't know who they value most on their board. We're going with best that we can think of at a position of need for them. So, yeah, Kentrell brothers seems ridiculous, and we'll probably get told in the comments section that we don't know a fucking thing about football, despite the fact we've got to combine like 30 years, and we're both 20.
Yeah, I mean, with Reggie Ragland gone, I'm not going to go, Scooby Wright. If I could just throw a name out there, if I had to pick a linebacker, I would go Landon Roberts, to be honest with you.
Yeah. For me, I wouldn't go linebacker this early for them. I'm gonna type it in. We're gonna make it official. Kentrell brothers.
Man, I'm actually gonna say Hunter Henry. I'm gonna go Henry.
Okay, I can buy that one a little bit more. That one, I mean, I don't have him, rated high. I don't have a single tight end rated high though. So.
Yeah, but I think of the class we have, he's gonna be the best skill set transferring over. And Rivers.
I mean, tight end in this, he can catch and he can kind of block. So
and Rodgers has a down year, and maybe you equate that to the fact that they don't have a tight end or haven't for a little bit. You know what I mean?
And
so
Jared Cook is Mr. Uncapped potential that just never does anything.
Yeah.
I would say the only other position I could think of, as far as who to pick, there would be to get someone who could replace Raji, and that would be like maybe a Kevin Dodd who is still there.
Yeah, which is surprising.
28, Kansas City. I mean, I think they could go corner to replace Sean Smith. I don't think another safety gets into the first round.
Me neither.
I mean, I'm hearing rumblings that they could potentially offer a trade to the Cowboys with Jamal Charles involved, but I mean, I'm not taking another running back in the first round either. Wide receiver. Yeah, he's still here, and you pair speed with speed, like you said. You have Alex Smith who can run. You have Jamal Charles who's still fast despite tearing everything in both knees. And you have Macklin, and you throw in Corey Coleman. Good luck. I'm going to go Corey Coleman.
Yeah, I like that pick. One that I was thinking was, maybe Kevin Dodd, quite honestly.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised he's still there for us, but I mean, shit happens.
True.
I mean, you never know how much teams are going to value 3 games. I mean, think about it. I mean, when you think we hear Christian Hackenberg, I mean, Gruden thinks he should be a first-round quarterback, which is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. Yeah.
Will probably end up going at the end of round 3. Someone will trade back in.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, Cardell Jones didn't lose a single game, but, I mean, he's being viewed as like a 6th or 7th round pick. I would probably take Cardell Jones before I'd take Christian Hackenberg.
Really?
I mean, there's more you can do with Jones because he's athletic, too. He's 250, strong. He has a strong-ass arm, and he can run.
Yeah.
All right, 29, Arizona. Another team with not a lot of needs. And, I mean, they like taking guys without field issues. Could be Kim Deach.
Yeah, it very well could be Kindichi here. I don't know. I'm just thinking about people that they have lost in free agency.
Also, Justin Houston not being able to play next year. I think that this sets up perfectly, and he's fine. He's going to have a big-ass draft fall, but, I mean, he could finally come off the board here.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, he is Kevin Dodd's 290 pounds. Can you really stand him up in a 3-4?
I think he could definitely make it happen.
Or, I mean, Mike DeVito just retired. You can put him at a 3-4 defensive end, and he can rush the passer from there.
He sure could. I mean, the Cardinals are in a perfect situation here where I thought the Cardinals would have won.
I was thinking about the Chiefs still. Fuck.
I think the Cardinals are in a situation.
You cut me off and tell me what the fuck are you talking about.
I was just kind of going with the flow, buddy. You're living in the past.
It's 1 a.m. your time, so I mean, I don't blame you.
But I think they have the freedom to do anything they want. Take a shot, take a chance, do something. You know what I mean? They're a team that I thought were going to win the Super Bowl, and are definitely.
I had it being Patriots and Cardinals.
Yeah, and definitely contenders to play for it next year. But I think you just kind of, you put a little gas on the fire, and I'm gonna go Sua Cravens here.
Damn.
Add to that backfield. I think he's good enough to play safety. I think he
wants to play safety at the next level too. I mean, he volunteered to play at linebacker because they didn't have anything.
Mm-hmm. And watching him play is beautiful, man. He's so good at what he does.
I think of this pick in the same way of a couple years ago when they got Deion Buchanan. I mean, I think it'll be a little bit more shocking, if it were to happen, come draft day. But when you look back on it 2 years later, I mean, Deion Buchanan was not thought anywhere close as a first-round pick, and he's done very well at linebacker. And you can either move him back to linebacker or have him back to safety and have Cravens play linebacker, or have Cravens just moving at safety.
Yeah, and I think Keanu Neal would probably be the more conventional pick here.
Yeah.
But knowing what they've done in the past with their defenders in terms of really changing them around and utilizing their talent to the fullest. And you've seen it with Tyrann Mathieu. We've seen it with Buchanan. I think Cravens is another hybrid player that's going to fit right in. He's going to do big things right away.
That's a good pick. I actually really like that pick. I hadn't thought of it because I didn't think that he would get to them in the second round. So that could be one. I think if someone wants to trade back in, yeah, I think if they pick Cravens, they probably trade back out of the first round. But we're not doing trades for obvious reasons. Yeah, that's a good pick. I like that. All right, 30 and Carolina. Good. All right, 30 Carolina. What the fuck? As we mentioned, about an hour ago, what the fuck are they doing with Josh Norman?
Crazy, man.
Fuck, man.
I have no clue. But the thing is, they're not going to find a Josh Norman here.
No, they're not going to find a Josh Norman.
Josh Norman was one of those guys who was a fifth
or a sixth round pick, something like that.
Yeah, so he was one of those draft stories that worked out after a couple years of being in the league. But there's no one that you're going to take right now, and he's going to be a Josh Norman for you.
Well, I mean, look at their corners, man. I mean, they cut Melvin White, who was shit anyways. They have Cortland Finnegan, who's, I mean, he's got to be close to 35. I think Charles Tillman just celebrated his 58th birthday or something.
I think so as well.
Um, God.
And it's all very enticing to go there, but like defensive end looks real good to me too, honestly.
Defensive end looks really good because, I mean, Charles Johnson's not going to be around forever.
No.
Coney Ely showed in the Super Bowl that he's ready to take that step.
Mm-hmm.
And still, Kevin Dodd is here.
And that's what I'm saying. The value is just unreal.
I mean, you can go back in round 2 or 3 and get like a Harlan Miller or get a Xavier Howard and, you know, just develop them that way. But, I mean, if Kevin Dodd's there at 30, I mean, David Gettleman may actually do something right for the first time this year. So I'm going to make it official. Kevin Dodd at pick fucking 30.
Yeah, crazy. I definitely like where you're going there. Now this pick, knowing that I was going to have the Denver Broncos Super Bowl winners, I kind of thought ahead a little bit. And, you know, the first name that jumped out to me, thinking he might be here, was Paxton Lynch, just being like, you know, they have Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about after really at 7, the only teams that you can think of are, okay, maybe the Bears at 11, but that's too high. Maybe the Bills at 19, but there are other needs. Maybe the Jets, but I don't know. They already have too many guys that fit the exact same mold of need time to develop. Maybe a team like Kansas City to learn behind Alex Smith. Maybe in Arizona, but I mean,
it is quite a unique situation as to what has happened.
Where they've won the Super Bowl and then lost not only their starting quarterback, but their backup quarterback too.
Yeah. And it's so weird to be, you know, they're the best team in the league, but now if they go into the season with Mark Sanchez, you know, they're not going 12-4, maybe 10-6 because they are loaded. Their defense is incredible. So 10-6.
Yeah, I mean that secondary is still a no-fly zone, and yeah, you lost Malik Jackson, but that there's still a lot of talent there. Maybe if Ragland somehow falls here, they'd pick him up to replace Trevathan, but
and here's another name that I would like, you know, because like I said, Lynch was kind of the obvious thing for me, but something that I'm thinking for them and just kind of, you know, obviously determining and seeing what they're going to do in free agency. I think they could go Fitzpatrick and take in free agency. I mean, and take. Get him as a quarterback because he can play. I think he's a good quarterback, and you have all the pieces that he doesn't have to be Superman. You know,
and I'm surprised they haven't reached out to him yet. They haven't reached out to him.
So I don't know what Elway's saying, but you know, you can maybe find a quarterback late here. But I think pick 31, we just kind of switch it up a little bit, and we just kind of throw something out there. I'm gonna go Jalen Smith.
Jalen Smith still. Yeah, you know what? He could.
You know what's not playing this year, but for a player of Jalen Smith's talent level, talent that you already have on defense, you can sit for a year on a pick like this.
Yeah, you know what? There's too much. If you really don't feel like Paxton Lynch is your guy, and you feel like maybe you can come back and pick someone else, I mean, honestly, I think they'll probably still go quarterback anyways. If it's not Lynch, they'll probably go Cook. Which, I mean,
think they're high on Connor Cook.
Yeah. But a lot of teams are also scared off Connor Cook because he's got attitude issues.
True.
So I'm going to we do the full 32, so I'm back at it again with the Cleveland Browns.
Nice, man.
And, geez, I mean, they had 8, so we had them go Miles Jack. See, part of me still does not want to give up on RG3, man.
I think he's a good player, and he could put it together, but he just has to have a good system around him. He needs to have a tremendous support system.
And I think with Hugh Jackson as the head coach, that would work out great. And Pep Hamilton's a great coach as well.
He is, yeah.
So I'm thinking I'm not going to go Lynch. They need to fix that defense, man.
But they need some help for RG3. Who's he going to throw the ball to?
You know what? There's Yeah, that's a very good point.
And
My next best available wide receiver is actually my 30th ranked player, and he happens to actually be an Ohio State Buckeye already, so he's not going to have to move. Michael Thomas.
You know Thomas here?
I'm going to go Thomas. He's Matt's number one wide receiver, so.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, think about some of the names that the media goes nuts over that we didn't even have in round one, or technically round one. We didn't have Will Fuller.
Mm-hmm.
Vernon Butler, who's actually one I really liked that just didn't get into the first round. Eli Apple.
Yeah.
Your boy Sterling Shepard.
Yeah. Von Bell didn't get in here.
Emmanuel Ogba.
Chris Jones.
Yeah.
Paxton Lynch.
Yeah, Paxton Lynch. I mean, there's the obvious one.
Alexander didn't make it.
Sorry, what was the last one?
Mackenzie Alexander.
Yeah, Mackenzie Alexander. Connor Cook, I've heard potentially as a first-round pick. Raven Clark. Just dead silence when I mentioned the Raven Clark. I know you're not high on him because I get why. I mean, he's an offensive tackle from an air raid system that I mean, he's never really blocking.
No, he's not.
I think the best player from that school
is a running back.
Yeah, DeAndre Washington is a monster.
Oh yeah.
I mean, people are going to hear me say this and probably think I'm insane, but I saw Maurice Jones-Drew when I was watching his tape, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did you see the Kansas State game where he tore them up for like 250 on the ground?
I sure did.
Oh my God.
Nuts.
He's going to be someone where everyone, where he may get picked in round 4 or 5, but I mean, he's a second or third round talent. He just didn't get to show it because of the system he's in.
It's true.
I mean, that offense puts up numbers like gangbusters, but I mean, you can do it in really any offense, I think. So yeah, we managed to do that in a little bit under an hour and a half, and we had some really big ass fucking rambles in the middle of that. So
that was pretty good, man. I'm gonna actually keep this and see how close we are. I'm sure there's gonna be some surprises come draft day.
I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna put this up on my desktop as well, on my notepad.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was a lot of fun. I'm actually really glad we finally got to do that because it's been.
Yeah, me too, man.
I mean, it's just such a cool idea, and it's a shame that the network doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah, I don't know why they stopped doing it. I always loved watching those things, but it's also a shame that we couldn't get more people out. It would have been, a lot of fun.
Yeah, if we, well, you know me, I'm probably going to be doing this again next year because I just, I need to have a medium to just, you know me, you've known me for years. I don't know when to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's true. Very good point.
Very good point. I don't know when to shut the fuck up. So I had a 20-minute rant video on the Eagles' loss in week 2 about how the season was already fucking over. I was right, but
damn.
And the funny thing is, I was being told I was a terrible Eagles fan for not believing that they could win the division. They couldn't. They picked the wrong year to be shit too. Everyone else in the league was shit.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was if you liked watching the NFL, you were disappointed. But if you loved watching college football, it was great.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Oh, fuck. Oh yeah. So why don't we just take because I don't know about you, I'm still a little amped because this is just awesome. Let's just talk about some stupid shit that Chris Sims has said. He believes that the SEC should automatically be given 2 teams in the college football playoff.
Yep.
I mean, were there 2 SEC teams that belonged this year? There's Alabama, but
outside of Alabama, no. Like, it's not even close. Who is the next top ranked SEC team? LSU?
LSU, something like that. Not Georgia.
No, and. I don't think they were deserving of being in that position in the first place. So
no, and he thinks that he even has transferred some of his wisdom over to college basketball as well.
Yeah, he should just stick to football, if
Who
that.
thinks that the ACC should be every bracket's #1 seed?
He doesn't understand.
So I guess you would say that you would have like Duke, like Duke, UNC, Pitt, and
I don't know.
he's just
Virginia?
so dumb, man. He says so many stupid fucking things.
He's been making a bunch of videos on Bleacher Report, like short little clips.
He's now saying that Carson Wentz is obviously a franchise quarterback, like I've been saying the whole way. But I mean, 2 weeks ago he was talking about Jared Goff as a borderline first-round pick, and when the Eagles made the trade,
Paxton Lynch actually, he made a video saying that he was the best in the class with Paxton Lynch.
oh, because like 2 weeks ago we were saying it was Carson Wentz.
Yeah, and Hassan Ridgeway was the best defensive tackle.
Leonard Floyd's the best pass rusher.
Yeah, and he made one about a receiver. Keanu Neal was the best safety.
That one I could see, depending on what you think about Joseph's injury and where do you put Ramsey.
Yeah, and he made one about a receiver too, but I forget who it was.
It might have been Sterling Shepard. I want to say it was Sterling Shepard.
I can't remember.
He's awful, man. He is a terror. The thing is that I mean, yeah, you and I are gonna have our own opinion. I mean, you have a Landon Roberts in your top 5 linebackers when no one else does, but you also don't go, well, because I play linebacker, I'm right, you're wrong. Fuck you.
The guy's sick. He's like 250 and he ran a 4.4.
No, I realize that. But what I mean is that, like, I mean, you'd be willing to say, like, okay, I see him differently than you, but like I'm not gonna bitch at you. I mean, the things that I was listening to him and Lefko go through, like the top half of a mock draft before the trades happened, and it was like, oh well, I guess Paxton Lynch has to show up now. And he was. What they were doing is they weren't reading like fan mocks. They were reading the statistics on 101 professional mock drafts. So guys like Kuiper and McShay and Matt Miller. And he said that no self-respecting person who can do a mock draft should ever say that Jared Goff is the better quarterback than Carson Wentz. So I guess Matt Miller, who gets paid at Bleacher Report to do exactly that, I guess he should just stop watching football, because apparently that means he doesn't watch football in the first place.
Yeah, and you said it at the top of the draft. It's really just between
what type of quarterback you want.
Yeah, and that's all it is. I think they both do the same things very well, and they both do different things very well. So it's just, I think it depends on who you watch, and you just kind of who you get that feeling from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that I always hate the easy comparisons that some of these guys get, because I mean, build wise, I could see the Matt Ryan comparison for Goff, but I mean, he looks a lot more on tape like Teddy Bridgewater. Goff or Wentz has gotten Cam Newton comparisons because he's 6'6" and 240 and can run, and that's just wrong.
Yeah, there's only one Cam Newton.
Jameis Winston may be a better comparison for him. I mean, Winston's 6'5", 235, and can run.
It's interesting because I see him as one of those prototypical pocket passers, who kind of stands in there and he does his thing, but he can also he has a little bit of flair to him. He has that running aspect, which is kind of hard to put it down because he doesn't play necessarily as a kind of reckless dual threat quarterback. Yeah. But he's kind of like a mix of a couple players, and I can't find one definite player.
The one that always makes me laugh is the Paxton Lynch Brock Osweiler comparison. Because they're both 6'7".
What's the point of even making that? You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, they're both 6'7", but I mean, Brock Osweiler is an athletic quarterback, but I mean, Lynch blows him out of the water athletically.
Yeah.
He's got a stronger arm. I can't think of a comparison.
Can't make an NFL comparison to a guy who got paid like what was the statistic? He got paid like
80 mil
for games started or something.
Oh, you're talking per games. Oh yeah, and I mean, part of that he can't really control because he had to back up Peyton Manning the whole time. But I mean, Peyton Manning probably should have retired 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did anyone think that Peyton Manning in real life was actually going to have like 35 touchdowns and MIT?
Honestly, like before the start of this season, that was like what I was banking on for the Broncos to kind of have a down year because they just got a new head coach and
it's a run first offense too. So
run first, and I knew that Peyton was going to do shit. And he was doing so bad, but their defense.
He was there on their bench the whole time.
Their defense is so good, it doesn't matter.
Oh, no, it really doesn't. I mean, Peyton Manning did not win them that game.
No.
He just helped them not lose.
And the thing is that, like, people say he just, managed the game. He didn't turn the ball over. He should have thrown, like, 5 picks, but all of them were dropped.
Yeah, Norman dropped 2 picks. Coney Ely got their interception for the game. Coney Ely, fucking defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, I mean, draft season is always fun because it makes us think about last year, the year ahead, and it also gets us, this year's Chris Sims was 2014's Merrill Hodge when he said that Michael Sam should be the #1 pick over Jadeveon Clowney. I don't know if you heard that one when that happened, but
I just chose to erase it from my memory.
Yeah. Speaking of Michael Sam, did you hear that he's having problems in the gay community because they're now being racist to him?
Oh, really?
Don't worry, I'm probably gonna edit all this out of here later anyways. I don't think anyone's actually making it to. They probably stopped after I said Michael Thomas and then clicked off the fucking video anyways.
Yeah, maybe.
If someone somehow managed to sit here for an hour and 40 minutes with the attention span of most people and actually sit here and and listen to this.
Yeah, it's pretty intense, man. But I don't know, honestly. I've talked to a couple players who used to play here.
Yeah.
And they were on the Alouettes the same time Michael Sam was. So like they've kind of talked to him and kind of gotten the feel from him. And everything I've heard is just like, one, he's shit, legitimate shit player. Like he's so bad. He went to the season and failed.
Remember the argument that he was the SEC, co-defensive player of the year or whatever.
Mm.
That got brought up to me so many times, and from people who didn't watch football, and they went, "Well, that's the best conference, in college football, right?" Yes, but 3.5 sacks versus Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
3.5 sacks versus DJ Humphrey's backup.
Mm-hmm.
That's 7 sacks right there against just awfulness. And they faced a Division II opponent. Mm-hmm. And I think he got 3 sacks there. So that's fucking 11 sacks right there. I'm not even sure if that's proper math, but no, 10 sacks. Yeah. 10 out of his 12.5 against just terrible, terrible competition.
Yeah.
And the reason he was getting those sacks is because Coney Ely was on the other end.
Yeah, and he was just taking all the attention, but like I said, people who've gone to the Alouettes camps and stuff like that, they all said he was so bad, worst player on the field.
Oh man, that doesn't surprise me, man.
Not me neither.
Man, that actually got me thinking about the Ely and Sam thing, but just how many duplications there are guys at same school, same position. I mean, Ohio State's got every position they've got a duplicate.
Mm-hmm.
You've got at wide receiver Braxton and Jalen Marshall and Michael Thomas, and at safety they've got Powell and Bell, and they have they've got Perry and Lee at linebacker.
Yeah.
and Bosa in Washington, and just Jesus.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy how many Buckeyes get drafted.
Yeah, there's gonna be
especially, but the whole 3 days is gonna be crazy to see how many of them go.
Yeah, and then of course, I mean, you could make an argument that the two best natural safeties in this class are from the same university, in KJ Dillon and Carl Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
That's a name I'm surprised we didn't even mention in the first round.
KJ Dillon, yeah.
I mean, you play safety a bit, so.
I love both of them, man. I love both their styles of play. KJ is, I think, a little bit more of that hybrid kind of player. He can move down to linebacker.
Yeah.
While you kind of keep Joseph at safety, keep him doing his thing.
Yeah, I sorry to bring up Chris Sims again, but he had the nerve to say that this was a weak safety class.
Yeah, and I don't understand that. It's pretty strong.
So you have Ramsey, but he doesn't think Ramsey is a top 10 pick.
Yeah, but that first of all, that's retarded. But if you didn't see Ramsey as a safety, it still wouldn't change the fact that there's good safeties in this draft.
Yeah. So even if you don't have Ramsey as a safety, you have Carl Joseph, Von Bell. I'm just reading through the names on my top 100. Keanu Neal, KJ Dillon, Jeremy Cash, kid from Boise, Thompson.
Yeah, I like him, but nobody's giving him his numbers.
Tyvis Powell. I could go on. There are guys that I had to take
Miles
off.
Killebrew is a name who I think is going to be a good player too.
You're gonna kill that fucking cat, like.
Bro, this cat's pissing me off, man.
See, at least Odin's just chilling over there in the corner away from me. He knows that I'm busy right now.
He likes his attention.
Yeah. Well, so does Odin, but he always knows when I'm making videos.
True.
All right, man. This was fun.
This was fun, man. Appreciate the invite.
Yeah, no worries, man. Hopefully next year, we can get Cantor. But circumstances that didn't happen.
Fucking persuading him now.
Well, that's the thing. I was waiting for him to text me, and he just didn't text me. It's like, all right, fine. I'm gonna go do it with Lawson. Well, that came out wrong. I'm gonna go do a mock draft with Lawson.
There you
go. I almost got one of my American buddies to join us, but he's a little busy. So,
True.
Yeah, he's from Georgia. So,
yeah,
but he's a Cowboys fan, so I'm not sure if either of us would be able to handle that. There's a difference between handling a Cowboys fan from afar and actually having to. Did you know that they won a couple of Super Bowls like 25 years ago?
That's the first thing they'll tell you, man.
Yeah, they won't shut the fuck up about it until it's over, and they'll remind me about how the fact that my team's never won a Super Bowl, but I've been to more Super Bowls than your team.
Man, that's Steelers fans too.
Fucking Romano.
But it holds a little bit more weight because they won one in this century or this decade, right?
Yeah, but seriously, how long? Steelers fans, they love to throw that at you. I mean, you got from our high school, Romano, Trevor Stevens.
I hate the fucking Steelers, man. God damn it.
Fuck the Steelers, man. Especially they're in the same state as my team, man.
Fucking hate the Steelers. I hate the Jets the most, though, I think.
Yeah, you know what? Ironically, one of my least favorite teams in the entire NFL is the Jets. Not the Cowboys, the Cowboys, then the Jets. And I'll tell you why.
I hate the Jets, but I hate the Jets.
I hate the Jets because I dated a Jets fan.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, and the thing is, because you know me, I'm a smart ass and a savage. So, I mean, send me a pic. Is that Richard Sherman? Yeah, that's Richard Sherman, the true best corner in the league.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that's the perfect way to end it.
Yeah, I feel you on that one, man.
All right, man. Yeah, go get some sleep because I know it's like 2 a.m. So.
All right, brother.
All right, peace.
Yeah, take care.
You too.